What's up? You're watching Swifty, and in this episode, I'm going to show you how to resolve strong reference cycles with closure properties. We're going to look at the same HTML element from before, except this time we're going to give it a capture list.
This is not being deinitialized, but this time I'm going to do what is called define a capture list. And basically, the way it's written is kind of like an array where you have two brackets, and then you're going to write the keyword in. I'm going to put self in here because essentially what we're doing is we're passing in a reference to self already, except I'm going to describe it as unowned. So now, instead of being a strong reference by default, I'm specifying that any reference that is created in here to this self, it has to be an unowned reference. As you can see, this HTML element is deallocated when we set the paragraph to nil. And then the other option we can do is weak self. And so this is going to throw an error because whenever we use a weak reference, the type has to be optional. So now we can do a guard let it self equals self, else return, and then we swap out self for itself, and that should be just fine. Ooh. Alright, so the compiler defines this class, then we reach line 22, the right side of the assignment is executed, then it's given a name, paragraph, line 23 is reached, paragraph is force unwrapped, and we gave it a value, just the line before, so then we call as HTML, the closure property, and as we call it, it's created. It creates a reference to HTML element, and unlike before, when we had a strong reference as a default to self, this one's actually going to be weak. So I'm going to change the color to blue, and then return the string, which we print out, and then we set the paragraph equals to nil. So then paragraph points to nil, and unlike before, when as HTML held a strong reference to HTML element has no strong references. So it's deallocated, and its reference to as HTML is also deallocated. As HTML is deallocated, and we have clean memory. Let's say instead of weak, we use unowned, and I'm going to make it purple for unowned. And pretty much everything is the same, except the color of this is different. And we're not checking to make sure it has a value because we have to assume that it has a value. If self has no value by the time we use it, for example, if we have an asynchronous call, then your program can crash. And here we go. So when we set paragraph equal to nil, points to nil, no strong references on HTML element. It is deallocated along with the strong reference to the as HTML closure, and the as HTML closure is deallocated, and so is its reference.